Since the last time we spoke, we've been pushing moving from it all being about announcements to actually having work that we're doing and results of the work. So in our automation agenda, the key thing that we were pushing for 2013 is an increased usage of all of the programmatic platforms that are out there, and to make sure that we're engaging as much of our client spend as possible, and it is practical and makes sense based on business goals. We've been really focused on pushing as much through proper programmatic channels as possible. So we've seen an increase in 2013 alone of probably about 50% year over year. And we had a goal set for 2013 of putting 5% of our total spend through programmatic. So, all spend out of the billions that Mediabrand spends, and actually exceeded that goal by 30%. So we're seeing a really great growth in that space. The clients as well as our client teams have fully embraced it. And some of the areas where we see the growth happening most is really sitting within programmatic and video, and seeing more of a shift from digital, so display programmatic, to video programmatic. We've been so focused on digital display, which is actually less the darling of digital media than video would be, social, mobile, and now TV, which is becoming stronger and stronger from a programmatic perspective. So what we're seeing is really a shift in what channels we're talking about programmatically. And that also, because we're bringing in better data, we're seeing increases in many regards in terms of the CPMs, but we feel that the effect that we're getting from an outcome perspective is much stronger because our metrics are becoming more and more sophisticated. We're taking it out of the CRM realm and bringing it more into the branding realm. And that's where the spend that comes from our client dollars really starts to increase. So automotive has always embraced it, and when you talk to a lot of the ad tech platforms that are out there, many of them began in service of the automotive category. So we see them continuing to forge forward in terms of picking up more and more engagement with programmatic channels. Where we're starting to see a really nice increase is on the packaged goods side, because we can now talk about branding and how programmatic can actually drive a branding objective. So that's a really big growth area for us right now. And we're able to create more and more closed loop studies on how brand metrics are moving as a result of programmatic activities. The way that I like to talk about programmatic and trading desks is that it's really early stage audience buying. And once you start to declare it as early stage, it takes a lot of the angst and the black box dialogue kind of off the table, and we can really start to talk about, so if these are the business practices, what pieces are making people uncomfortable, and what do we need to solve for, so that as we're pushing clients to put more money through a trading desk, they actually feel like they understand it enough, they understand the business practices, how people make money, in a way that they can then endorse it and continue to push more activity through it. And that's really changing the way that we talk about it. We also are seeing a lot of interest, especially from probably Fortune 500 types of clients, in building their own internal DSP, DMP, whichever D and P you want to include. And I think that there's a really positive and appropriate debate going on in the industry right now in terms of, should it be sitting in the client? Should it be sitting at the agency? Can one ad tech company actually provide the solution for either of us that we actually need? And I think that that's the right dialogue to have, because I believe that there's a role for all three of us in this. We need to not fight for the same turf and really figure out how we build a proper ecosystem so that we actually move forward instead of kind of swirling in this area that we all understand best right now, and start to push forward toward areas that we need to develop more. I think that native advertising has to figure out how to scale. When you consider how consumers are interacting with media content now, we have to figure out how we can go to one or two people potentially at a time and start to engage them in a way that is appropriate for them. There is such a huge gap in the marketplace, though, in order for us to be able to do that. I think one of the hotter topics I'm hearing now that clients are kind of understanding the technology piece is they're starting to realize the content piece and how massive the requirements for that are and how we're really not set up. So by we, I mean all marketing people are not really set up to be able to deliver the kind of content that we really could do. I don't know. Certainly consumers can. I think that a big creative agency has the opportunity to, if they can figure out a different cost structure that would allow them to quickly, creatively, but inexpensively be able to push out video content as it's required and written content as it's required. But that's a very different skill set than the way that agencies are built today. I see some of the social agencies that are highly creative and they have their video cameras set up in their lobby with a big white screen so they can pretty much produce whatever video they need on the spot. So I think that there are just different areas that need to be mined better. And I do have a lot of clients who are asking about a content strategy. So how do they actually set up to be able to manage this huge gap that's in the center of the kind of content that they know that they're going to need to have?